Well, since my baby left me, I found a new place to dwell. It's down at the end of Lonely Street at Heartbreak Hotel. Well, now, I feel so lonely, baby. I get so lonely. I feel so lonely, I could die. Now all the place is crowded, you can still find some room for lonely-hearted lovers to cry away their gloom. I get so lonely, baby. I feel so lonely. I get so lonely, I could die. So lonely, baby. I feel so lonely. I feel so lonely, I could die.
Milk it.
Thank you, Elvis. It's so wonderful to have Elvis here, isn't it, everybody, to help us celebrate Christmas and Christmas food.
Well, I have a little song, it's called Hound Dog. But I always sing hot dog in my head because I love a hot dog with barbecue sauce and onions. Sudden fried, my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Ready, man?
Yeah.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
No, hang on. Whoa, nearly.
It's been a while since I sang this, folks. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Well, they said you was high class. Well, that's just a lie. Well, they said you was high class. Well, that's just a lie. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Oh, you ain't nothing but a hound dog. Crying all the time. You ain't nothing.
Advice on that classic Christmas meat, the goose, roast goose. So what does she say about choosing and trussing the goose, Elvis?
Well, she says select a goose with a clean white skin, plump breast, and yellow feet. If these latter are red, the bird is old. Should the weather permit, let it hang for a few days. By doing so, the flavor will be much improved. Pluck, singe, draw, and carefully wash and wipe the goose. Cut off the neck close to the back. Leaving the skin long enough to turn over. Cut off the feet at the first joints and separate the pinions at the first joint. Beat the breastbone flat with a rolling pin. Put a skewer through the underpart of each wing and having drawn up the legs closely, put a skewer into the middle of each and pass the same quite through the body. Insert another skewer into the small of the leg. Bring it close down to the side bone, run it through, and do the same to the other side. Now cut off the end of the vent and make a hole in the skin sufficiently large enough for the passage of the rump. In order to keep in the seasoning. There you go, Mrs. Beaton.
And how does she stuff and cook it then, Elvis?
Well, I'll tell you now. You make a sage and onion stuffing. Surprise, surprise. Put it in the body of the goose and secure it firmly at both ends by passing the rump through the hole made in the skin. Are you all following this?
Yeah.
Any questions afterwards? And the other end by tying the skin of the neck to the back. By this means the skin. That's all right, Mama. Any way you do, that's all right. Well, that's all right. That's all right, now, Mama. Any way you do. About Mama, she done told me.
Yeah.
Papa done told me too.
Yeah.
Said, boy, that girl you're fooling with, she ain't no good for you.
Oh,
that's all right. wrote about in A Christmas Carol.
Yes. This is the bit that Ebenezer Scrooge, where he watches the ghost of Christmas present as the Cratchit family sits down to roast goose and Christmas pudding. Bob, turning up his cuffs, as if, poor fellow, they were capable of being made more shabby, compounded some hot mixture in a jug with gin and lemons and stirred it round and round and put it on the hob to simmer. Master Peter and the two ubiquitous young Cratchits went to fetch the goose, which they soon returned in high procession. Such a bustle ensued that you might have thought a goose the rarest of all birds, a feathered phenomenon to which a black swan was a matter of course. And in truth, it was something very like that in the house. Mrs. Cratchit made the gravy, ready beforehand in a little saucepan, hissing hot. Master Peter mashed the potatoes with incredible vigour. Miss Belinda sweetened up the apple sauce, and Martha dusted the plates. Bob took Tiny Tim beside him in a tiny corner at the table. Two young Cratchits set chairs for everybody, not forgetting themselves, and mounting guard upon their posts, crammed spoons into their mouths, lest they should shriek for goose before their turn came to be helped. At last the dishes were set on, and grace was said. It was succeeded by a breathless pause, as Mrs. Cratchit, looking slowly along the carving knife, prepared to plunge it into the breast. And when she did, the long-expected gush of stuffing issued forth. One murmur of delight arose all around the board, and even Tiny Tim, excited by the two young Cratchits, beat on the table with the handle of his knife and feebly cried, "Hurrah!"
Hurrah!
There never was such a goose. Bob said he didn't believe there ever was such a goose cooked, for its tenderness and flavour, size and cheapness were the themes of universal admiration. Eked out by apple sauce and mashed potatoes, it was a sufficient dinner for the whole family. Indeed, as Mrs. Cratchit said with great delight, surveying one small atom of bone upon the dish, they hadn't ate it all particular, they were steeped in sage and onion to the eyebrows.
Great story, sir. And Ebenezer Scrooge had a small saucepan of gruel waiting on his hob, I believe. I know a song about gruel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Don't Be Gruel. Don't be cruel to a heart that's true. Don't be cruel to a heart that's true. I don't want no other love, baby, it's just you I'm thinking of.
Hey!
And
first copy, and this led to huge advance orders. And the single entered the charts at #1 and stayed there for 8 weeks.
8 weeks, folks.
8 weeks, Elvis. Wow.
And what was it based on, Elvis?
Well, it was based on a tune you may know called O Solo Mio, an old Italian song. That would become just as famous in later years for an advert for ice cream, just one cornetto. Remember that, folks? Well, here we go.
You can join in with the start a bit.
Yeah, join in.
The bit that goes la 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 la.
Practice. Is that a practice?
Okay, that's a practice.
So, Elvis, there is a food connection in this song.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
there is. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Ready?
folks. Ready?
La, la.
Thanks, folks.
Oh, that's great, Elvis.
Thank you. Huh?
Now, Elvis, tell me, do you have a favourite food?
I have a favourite food. Well, I do have a sweet tooth there, so yeah.
Ah.
And I can never resist a peanut butter, banana and jelly sandwich, sometimes with strips of crispy bacon on top.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, that's wow.
Sounds delicious, Elvis, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe not to everyone's taste, but do you like a bit of Christmas cake too?
Uh-huh. Yes, ma'am. Sit to stand on my own 2 feet. Who do you think when you have so much love? I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Uh-huh.
up.
Oh, yeah. I'm all shook up.
Yay!
Hey, Rose.
That was great, Elvis.
Hey, you.
Well, talking of traditional Christmases,
Oh.
have you heard about the book Lark Rise to Candleford by Flora Thompson?
Lark Rise to Kendallford. Yeah. It's a trilogy of semi-autobiographical novels about the countryside of northeast Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire, England, at the end of the 19th century, I do believe so.
Well, that's amazing that you know that, Elvis.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'll just read a short extract for you.
Okay.
Well, Christmas Day passed very quietly. The men had a holiday from work and the children from school, and the churchgoers attended special Christmas services. Mothers who had young children would buy them an oranges each and a handful of nuts. But except at the end house and the inn, there was no hanging up of stockings. Stockings, I said, Elvis, not knickers.
Sorry, ma'am.
Thank you. And those who had no kind elder sister or aunt in service to send them parcels got no Christmas presents. Still, they did manage to make a little festival of it. Every year the farmer killed an ox for the purpose and gave each of his men a joint of beef, which duly appeared on the Christmas dinner table, together with plum pudding. Not Christmas pudding, but suet duff with a good sprinkling of raisins. Ivy and other evergreens were hung from the ceiling and over the pictures. A bottle of homemade wine was uncorked. A good fire was made up. With doors and windows closed against the keen wintry weather, they all settled down for a kind of Super Sunday. A few families sitting by their own firesides would sing carols and songs. That and more and better food and a better fire than usual made up their Christmas cheer.
Oh, I love those old stories, don't you, folks?
Yeah.
Say, do you know that song, Winter Wonderland? It brings back happy memories for me of Graceland in the early days. Let's sing it, folks.
It's on
It's
your
on your
little
song
list.
sheet.
On your song
And you
sheet.
can jingle in this one.
Jingle
All
away.
right.
Jingle.
Feel free to jingle.
Jingling
More
for
jingling the
loud.
better,
In
folks.
time if you can do it.
Keep you
even
warm
better.
by jingling.
Ready? Sleigh bells ring.
I'll let you all into a secret, Sue. You must promise to keep to yourselves, old folks.
Yes.
When the King of Hay declared independence for this little town, he wrote to me with a royal invitation to come and visit it. The Colonel he made me keep it quiet, so I didn't get mobbed by all the lovely ladies who'd turn up.
It's always a problem.
I brought a photo that is one of my treasured possessions here. You can all have a look at it afterwards, but man, I love this photo. And it shows me on a secret visit to Hay Castle. So when I heard about the sad death of King Richard, I thought it would be fitting to sing this tribute to a fellow king. And it's called Blue Christmas.
On your sheet.
On your sheets, join in if you wish, folks.
Oh yeah, it's on the thing. Isn't it?
I'll have a blue Christmas without you. Be so blue, just thinking about you. Decorations of red on a green Christmas tree.
White
White
Christmas.
Christmas, White Christmas requested here from the front row.
Okay, well said, lady.
All right, well done.
Handy choice.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well done! Yay! Can we have a look at the photo afterwards, folks?
Come on, have the photo.
Well, I just think a huge thank you to Colonel Tom and Sue